Hello, everyone. It's week 4 of Best Bet and another great afternoon of Sunday racing here at Del Mar. My name is Frank Scattoni, and I am your host for this weekly live stream, where I am joined each week by a special guest to discuss the best betting opportunity on Sunday's card. And today we are in for a treat because we are going to be looking at the early pick 5. Very tough and interesting sequence. Just a reminder for those who haven't listened before, this is not your traditional selection show. We're not going to talk about every race. We are just going to look at specific races and wagering strategies that offer the best opportunities to try and make a big score. If you're watching live, feel free to leave us a comment or ask us any questions. The show will also be archived on Del Mar's Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube platforms. So let me introduce today's special guest. I've known him for a very long time. He is an NHC handicapping champion, and he is a true trailblazer in the industry as the founder of Optics EQ, which I believe is the most innovative handicapping platform in the business. Welcome, John Doyle. John, how are you?
Hey, Frank, how you doing? Great being here. I'm excited. I want to really dig into this pick 5, and we got visuals for this seminar. This is great.
I know. For the first time, I'm really excited to be doing this. Thanks so much for coming on, John. I haven't seen you in a while, but there was a time when you would come out every summer to Del Mar, and that's when you first introduced me to Optics, before it was even launched for the public, many moons ago. Talk a little bit about the creation of Optics, what the platform offers, and maybe give our audience a little bit of an idea of how the product has grown over the last, I don't know, what has it been, 10 years?
Yeah. We've been probably 6 years. We've been, public, commercial, but we've been using this product for 10 years at least. And yeah, it's been incredible. It's basically my partner and I, Dave, and obviously Frank, you were on in the early stages, and obviously Gullickson has been a huge part and still is of growing Optics. But yeah, it was around the concepts that I used to win the NHC. I really focus on areas I think that are most difficult, and try to do something to kind of get inside and maybe get an edge in pace. And that's what you see up there now. The plot is one of the products that helps us do that. And the second is form cycle. Like, where's the horse heading in his form cycle? How do you kind of do it? And, mostly, we used to do it through speed figures. This horse is kind of coming up on a big race, but it doesn't tell the whole story, right? It kind of tells you quantitatively how the horse is doing, but not qualitatively. And that's when we came up with the notes product. So those are the two products that really, I think, have kind of been missed in all the products out there these years. It's basically been a lot of more speed figures, better speed figures, pace figures. But what we're giving you here is more of a visual on the overall pace, how pace actually works. And then the second thing is form cycle and notes. So that's kind of been our focus. We've evolved the product, from the beginning. It's changed dramatically, and it's going to continue to change. You see it here. The other thing about it, it's dynamic. So when scratches come in, it'll change and it'll get affected. So it's a different kind of product. I've been using it for, like you said, for 10 years. I know you've been using it for, probably at least 6 or 7 years. And it's a great tool. And we'll show you. I think we're going to demonstrate some of its capabilities as we go along and handicap this pick 5.
Yeah, I'm excited to have the graphics up to hear you talk about these races. Before we get into that, though, I've seen all levels of players embrace Optics, from beginners who are just starting to learn how to handicap to, guys who bet $20,000 a day through the windows. Why do you think Optics has that kind of universal appeal?
First of all, I think it's the initial appeal is it's different, right? So it's visual versus kind of what we've been traditionally, handed the whole life, a lot of information, data. I think the visual is the one thing that makes it different. It makes it maybe attractive. And I think the second thing is content. They trust the content because they know where it's coming from. It's the people that do this are experts. We've been doing this for years. It's a different kind of environment. So I think it's the content, the trust of the content, and the visuals makes people interested in it and keep people coming along. We have a very high retention rate. In the beginning, it's hard because it's different. It's the adoption. Usually, like West Coast, people adopt a little bit sooner than maybe the East Coast. So that adoption's been slow, but the retention's been tremendous. And this year we really kind of starting to kick in, with more and more people joining on. And it's really been, we're not marketing people. It's really all been through social media and just people knowing other people. And I think that's the greatest thing. I get handicappers tell me this is the greatest thing that I respect, people that play. I had a guy from New York, Frank, you'll appreciate this. And he's out there. I don't want to say his name, but he's out there at Del Mar this week. And he tells me that he goes, look, he's used everything. He was a sheets guy. He's used everything. And he says, this is the only product where you're going to really find price horses these days. He's talking about notes, and especially. And he says that's kind of the distinguishing thing for him. And when you hear from people like that, you have something. I think you really feel appreciated. And I think that's the big thing with optics. I think we're a player's tool.
Well, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think the game has changed so much in the last 5 years. The computer guys who can manipulate the tote up to the microsecond, their algorithms are so good. But there's one thing they can't incorporate. They can't incorporate the trip note handicapping, because there's just no way to do that in their models. So the fact that optics has these expert trip watchers and taking notes gives you a decided advantage. So you couple that with the plot and the race shape, you definitely have an edge. And that's one of the things that I love so much about it. We talk about the plot and we talk about the grid. Those were early parts of the platform. Any new innovations over the last year or so that that's either just come out or that you're working on that you want to talk about?
Yeah, we're evolving, and just to the point about no one could do trip notes in modeling. Well, I think we're going to be the first to do that, because our system is set up to do that. That's why we did it the way we did with keywords and stuff. And there's analytics, but it hasn't been incorporated into like a modeling that thing yet. But I think we have the opportunity to do that because we use keywords and it's just a different animal. So yeah, we have a product called Focus. It's evolving though. It's not a product per se yet. You can, if you buy our silver plan, you do get it for tracks like Saratoga and Del Mar, like we do specials and so forth. But it's not like, full cards every day for everything. It's evolving. And the idea behind this, you got it up there now, Frank, is a fair odds value line for each of the horses. And, that's an expert line from us. What we think fair value, if you were to bet this horse, what odds would you want? And then what I also have in there is the notes from the last 3 races of the horse, other information. And at the bottom, you see that rank report. Instead of, so many people like, I want picks, and, okay, you can get 4 picks, but what does it mean? What we're trying to do here is try to say, when would you bet the horse? Would you bet the horse at 5-1 or 5-2 or whatever? This is kind of evolving kind of picks to this. It's not really picks. Again, it's more educational. The other thing it does is it helps. We really started it to help people learn how to use or apply our products to all the information in there, the things you see in there about our products, like our speed figures, our plots information, all the rest, all those statistics about our product. What we're going to try to probably do is evolve this. Right now, it's probably 80% manual and 20%, automatic. Going to shift that probably in the years coming, then we'll be able to expand it out. But it's just evolving. I did the 5 races in the pick 5, so you can see that as we go along. That's kind of where we're in the next step in optics.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about the pick 5, and John's going to show us how he came up with some of the horses that he did and his wagering strategy. But one last question before we do that. How do you figure out which races and or sequences of races you decide to focus on? And more specifically, why did you choose today's early pick 5 to discuss?
Yeah, I think it goes to edge. So, right, you're always trying to get an edge. So you kind of look at the information, that we have. So is there a notes was there a visual thing that I think that maybe the general public didn't see? Or was there a pace advantage I saw a horse had that maybe would be understated? So that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. And, as I started going through the sequence, I said, well, these 5 races kind of fit the bill. At least a couple of them do. A couple of them where I'm going to have to kind of just try to get by. But there are a couple of them where I'm going to take a little bit of a stand on and see if we can get it home.
All right. Well, let's dig in. We're going to go over the early pick 5, everyone. It's a 50-cent wager. It has a much lower takeout than the late pick 5. So if you're getting involved in multi-race sequences, you do always want to at least take a look at the early pick 5 and see if there's an opportunity because that lower takeout just offers better value for the players. I know John also has a few other bets he's going to throw into the mix as we go through these first 5 races. But let's start with race 1. It's a $50,000 claimer for 3-year-old fillies going 8 furlongs on the lawn. The rails are at 12 feet today. Morning line favorite is number 3, Virulent, at 2-1. Goes out for Phil D'Amato, who wins a ton of turf races, drops in class, just ran second against more expensive foes in a 6.5 furlong turf sprint. She does have a route win, so distance isn't an issue. She figures, but I actually thought there were a few other places you could land here in a pretty competitive race.
Yeah,
what do you think, John?
Yeah, I'm agreeing.
I'm going to pull up the plot.
And the plot.
Brady, you want the grid of the plot?
Yeah, you can bring up that's first. I mean, if you look at this plot, she plots as a Q3 square, which is not bad. I mean, she should be able to sit a good trip. My big thing with her is distance. You can see her square actually gets smaller as there's 2 plots up side by side. One is standard. That means we just kind of take information in past performances. It doesn't look at distance or surface. The surface distance is specifically routing on the turf. And so there's, her square, and people that don't understand this, squares mean the horse has got a better finish. The bigger the square, the better the finish. Circle is kind of just the opposite. And, I just think there's 2 things. I think there's going to be a lot of kind of, pace in this race. So she's going to be kind of, I think, chasing a faster pace. And you can see a lot of horses above this blue line. And I'm not quite sure. I know she's won at a route, but I don't think that's her optimal distance, Frank. And I think there's enough pace in here. And I think the horse that, to me, is the most logical one, maybe with a late run. And I've noticed that late pace has done pretty well, at least the last couple of days on that routing on the turf. So I like the 1. I thought the 1 has a real chance. But for me to get out of this race, I'm going to spread a little bit. I had 157 of my kind of key horses in this race. I kind of included the 4 just because I didn't want to get beat by this horse. Just in case you can see where this horse plots, just in case this horse like kind of the speed and the speed holds. This is not a race I wanted to kind of die on the sword. I mean, I'm making enough of stand trying to beat the 3. I didn't want if I'm going to beat the 3, I just want to make sure I move forward. And so that's why I included. So I'm 1, 4, 5, 7. If you were kind of trying to key around this race, I mean, I think the 1, I like the 1. I thought the 7 and the 5 provide the most value though in this race. So if you want to build a trifecta around the 7 and the 5, have at it. But that's my analysis of race 1. So that's how I'm going to play it.
Can we talk a little bit about your ticket structure and your wagering strategy? Because I know when we talk about race 2, I'll also put up an early pick 4 that you had. But what are you doing when you're looking at a sequence and you're trying to extract the most value out of it? I know obviously trying to find vulnerable favorites and beating them is one thing, and then you have a single in the sequence, finding singles as well. But what is your methodology when you're actually sitting down and constructing your ticket?
Yeah, it's kind of like a feel, right? The first thing is, I mean, you can play multiple tickets and so forth. Sometimes I don't. For simplistic sakes, for this seminar, I went with the 1 ticket. And my idea was, my really opinion was in race 2 and in race 5. Okay. That's kind of the way I looked at it. And so I said to myself, I think, race 2 is kind of a mess. I really don't have a strong opinion on, well, it sounds weird, right? I don't really have when I looked at this race, I wasn't crazy about the 5. The 5 looks okay. There's no doubt about it. But I wasn't going to take that horse. Going to be a short price, and after running like slower, albeit it was as a younger horse, come back and ran a big race. Seems like he's working okay. You see the plot. Yeah, that horse could win. Don't get me wrong, but you can make a case for almost everybody in this race. I just thought the 4 was working out so strongly, and I think Serin. He doesn't run many of these first-time starters, especially older horses. When he has them, they run pretty well. I'm not a big trainer statistic guy, but I look for trends, like who's hot, who's cold, and who's maybe got a particular angle that no one would see because there's small samples. And he's had 5 horses that ran this kind of, first time 3-year-olds and up, maiden special weights. And he's kind of had 2 horses run over the par for this level. And that's kind of what I was kind of looking for. The horse seems to be working really well. Good gait work. He's got speed. Looks like he's got some stamina. And then everybody else is just, I can almost see it. I could see it. So the kind of strategy I came up with, Frank, was to single the 4 in the pick 5, and then come back with the pick 4 where I went all.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about that. Well, first of all, the second race, John's talking about number 4, Princess Adelaide, morning line 6-1 as a key single in the pick 5, trying to take on number 5, Keychain Girl, who's the 8-5 morning line favorite. And I was looking at the way you constructed the 2 wagers, and I was thinking, well, you thought it was a pretty wide open race, but you wanted to take a stand in the pick 5. And if you were wrong about your horse, you'd be alive going forward with your other opinions, because you said you also had a strong opinion in the 5th race. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
And the 5th race, I like the 5.
Yeah.
And that's a competitive race. It looks like it's going to be one of those strong, 2-year-old races. But that horse really impressed me. I do the notes for optics for Gulfstream, and that was a massive effort considering what that horse had to endure during that race. The horse got kicked back and made a really strong late move. That was race 5, Frank.
Yeah, we'll get to race 5. But I was just thinking about what your thought process was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's see. These are things that people need to think about. If you get busted in a pick 5 with one of your opinions, but you still have an opinion later in the sequence, you need to find a way to come back and get to that other opinion on the card.
Yeah, it depends on your level of play and how you want to do it. You could have made pick 5s doing the same thing. Okay,
right, another ticket going all.
Yeah. I just thought this might be interesting for people to think that a pick 4 is a backup to a pick 5. I don't know if anyone. I've used that several times. It kind of works especially. So.
Yeah, and then we'll see it later on with. I know you have a double that you want to give out as well that maximizes one of your price horses. But let's talk about race 3. It's a $25,000 claiming event for 3-year-olds only, going 6 furlongs on the main track. Morning line favorite number 6, Moose Mitchell, at 3-1. Faces open company for the first time, but he's also running for a low price tag for the first time. He has speed, goes out for a hot trainer. I think the horse definitely figures, but if you look at the plot, it seems to me that there are several contenders in this race. So,
what stands out in the plot are the 8 and the 3, right? So those are horses that, I've included. This is a kind of a race where, I can see the 5, the 6 winning, but I want to get past this race. I want to see maybe I can get lucky and catch a better price. So I included the 3, 5, 6, and 8. Now, just basically went squares here, Frank.
I was going to ask you that. I wanted to get in the weeds a little bit because I noticed you did leave off 2 squares. You used all the squares except for 2. Maybe you can walk us through the process and how you eliminated those other squares.
Let's go to the grid for a second.
Okay.
Well, first of all, before you do that, I'll tell you why I didn't like the 10. Just leave it right there. So if you look at the plot, and then if you look at above the plot, there's this RPM thing, right? It has the run styles of the horses. So you have E, EP, P, PC, and C. I don't know if everyone knows what that means, but EP horses are horses that tend to want to be forwardly placed. Okay, they could press, they could go to the lead. So they're usually within 2 lengths of the lead. What I don't like about the 10 is that he's in. Now, if he was a closer, I would like him better. But since he's in quadrant 3, as an EP, I'm concerned that he's not going to be able to keep up with the early pace. So that's my concern about number 10. Okay, that's why I kind of put him off the ticket. So I look at his square differently than I look at the squares of the 3, the 8, and the what was the other one? The 5 I talked about. The 9. Let's go to the. Let's go to the grid on the 9 because I don't remember. But maybe
I'm thinking mostly because it was a lot of synth races, probably. Those Golden Gate horses, the synth horses, they always have strong late pace when they come to the dirt.
It was a class thing. It was synthetic.
Yeah,
I didn't like his last race was a dud. That's the reason.
Yeah, if you can see here, we're on the grid screen. We've got all this information, and then you have the letter grade that stands out, along with the keywords that gives you an at-a-glance view of the trip the horse had. And then there's this little information box that gives you a more in-depth look at what the expert note taker thought about
Yeah,
the race. So
and you'll see some green keywords and red ones, just so you understand what
yeah,
that means. We actually analyze those things on a regular basis to determine, like we look at changing class, speed figure change stuff. So green is positive. We've seen a positive. In fact, we have a keyword, Frank, over the last 3 years called kickback that has shown, just betting that has shown a ROI. Now, it's not a frequent one. The way we look,
kickback, you said?
What?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said because you broke up for a second. You said the green word kickback
has
shown a positive ROI when they move to turf or something?
No. Kickback is dirt in the horse's face, and we look at it different way.
Right. So
dirt.
Do they move to turf?
It's really affected the running. It gets in his nose, his face, that kind of stuff. That over the last years, just playing that without doing anything else, has shown a ROI over the last 3 years, which is incredible. Right?
So it doesn't matter if the horse then moves. It doesn't matter if the horse moves to turf or if the horse is drawn outside. Just play it back automatically.
I never suggest do one thing automatically, but I'm just telling you what I'm trying to really, show you is the power of these things, and the effectiveness and the edge you have, because that information doesn't exist anywhere in the world other than in optics notes.
Right. So here, I have the screen up for the people watching. Here, BTL, better than look, that's a green keyword. X bias means the horse ran against the bias last time, so could come back and run much better. And we, prep, turf, there's stretch out. There's so much information here that will allow you to handicap the race on a completely different level than what most people do. So
just so people know, notes is not trip notes in the traditional sense. It's really more like interpretive notes. It's more like getting, I don't know, for old school people like Frank and I, it's like cliff notes, getting the cliff notes to a show. Like, I just read Hamlet and understand it. Let me get the cliff notes. I just watched the race. I didn't understand it. Could I? Let me get the cliff
notes. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. All right, well, let's move on to race 4. This seems like another spready type race to me. It's a $25,000 claimer for fillies and mares going 5 furlongs on the turf. Rails out 12 feet. Morning line favorite is number 1, Ellie Arroway at 2-1. She's dropping in class. She has tactical speed, but she's mostly been running around 2 turns. And, this is a drastic shortening up of distance. These 5 furlong races are their own animal. I wasn't too crazy about taking a short number on her in here, but how do you see the race, John?
Oh, I like the 7. I mean, look, I could see, a couple other horses winning here, but I think the 7 is going to be tremendous values, like 20-1 in morning line, which is pretty. I think it's 21 or 30. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
No, 20-1 on the morning line.
Yeah. So look at the 7 on the plot. He's a circle. People know, but he's a small circle on surface and distance, smaller circle than the favorite, the 1, right? Quadrant 1, pretty light, right? There's not a lot. There are no other horses in quadrant 1. And Frank, if you go up to that speed figure thing, the V bars.
Yep, right here.
Yeah, click quad percentage. If you change it, quad percentage.
Yep.
You could see. This horse is. It's not much of an edge, but if you have a horse at 5 furlongs, okay, going on the turf, and is going to be on or near the lead, you have a big shot. And so I think this horse is worth taking a shot. If you go to Frank, go to the optics focus for this race, please. I just want to see, how I lay it.
We're on race 4 right here, so there we go.
Yeah, just scroll down to the 7. So you can see, I described, I can't, okay, I can't read that.
Can you see it? Long shot, you wrote long shot, double-digit odds, runner with a good chance to outrun odds.
Yeah. So pace that. All those little things underneath too. I just think. Could you read those things?
Yeah, down in class. Has run fast enough in the past to compete. Pace dynamics suit running style / plot position. Positive surface distance switch. Repeating a winning form cycle pattern. And jockey fits the horse.
That's the other thing. Go to the grid, Frank. I hate to keep scritching around.
No.
This horse is definitely worth.
I'm happy to do it.
A win bet on, that's for sure. And in fact, I think we have some doubles around this horse.
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up.
And also vertical bets we have, because I think this horse would be a horse that you might want to include. We've got a double there.
So here's the double. But let's talk about the actual race, because I know you want to keep it. You want to bet the 7 to win, and then trifectas. Keying the 7.
Yeah. So just, get them in second and third. I think those are the other just logical contenders that are going to, probably, be first, second, or third. So, that's a simple play. I just think that, this horse at 20-1 is worth putting all slots. And, as opposed to betting, some people, oh, you bet the horse to show, that's not where you're going to get some value. So we, instead of betting place and show, we play trifectas.
Right, with the other contenders. And if the horse runs third and
Yeah.
you've got,
Yeah, we did one the other day at I think it was Del Mar or Saratoga on our live broadcast on Thursday, by the way, at the Optics CQ. We live streamed. And we played around at 2. And, we got even some logical horses, but instead of getting $560 to show, the try played $118. And even for our, $10 investment, that's still 18-1 versus 9-5. So,
yeah, a lot of people will get hesitant to do that because they're like, oh, I'll just bet win, place, or show, whatever, the easy way out. But if you're smart about your ticket construction with a key horse who's good value and is going to be a good price, you can take so much more money out of the race by playing your tickets in a smart and efficient way. I'm just going to put this back up because we're going to talk about the double. Do you just want to mention the other contenders in this race that you're going to use in case your 7 doesn't fire?
Yeah, I just kind of left the 1 out because he's a favorite, and I because I'm kind of like Dean on the 7. But the way I did it, I used 4 and 5. The other horses that if the 1 or 7 get tired, they look like squares. They look like horses that could finish. There's some more to that, but I'm just just going off the plot. And then in the last race, I thought I was trying to play against the Baffert horse because he'll be the favorite. So I think the 7 wins. There's value in the doubles with the 2, 4, and 5. But could you go to the grid on that race 4 because I wanted to show the repeat pattern on the 7. I think.
Okay.
Let's just filter on the 7. Maybe it's easier.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting old, Frank, so my eyes are. You see this better.
Yeah, I'm going to try and blow up the screen a little bit so everybody can see it better. But
yeah,
there you go. Can you see that?
Yeah, perfect.
Where do you?
So if if you see this horse, I think it was. Let me see the date. Just scroll down a little bit, Frank. Yeah, okay. Here it is. LA. This horse. Where was it? No. Okay, go down, Frank. LRC.
This one?
Yeah, 2021 625. That race. You see, the dirt. Go down.
Okay, LRC more. This one.
Yeah.
Here we go.
LRC dirt. Okay, 625. They moved the horse up in class, put him on the turf at Del Mar, and he ran a big. Okay, there you go. I mean, he didn't win. But I'm sorry. Where are you looking? Okay.
I lost it because I made it a little smaller because I wanted to see more of the grid. But
anyway, there's a couple of just stop.
Right.
There's that pattern. So this horse improved his speed figure by 30 points at LRC Dirt the last race into this race.
Right, if you go 46 to a 76. I see.
And go up to the next time at Santa Anita. Santa Anita, 60. You ran a 60 on 10.
Right here.
Yep. And then he comes back, lone on turf, runs a big 77. So
right, I see. Okay.
Just a little bit of a dirt to turf pattern that kind of duplicates itself a little bit with this horse. Okay, so that's what he's on.
The horse jumps up, another 20 points off that 69.
He doesn't even have to. Yeah, I don't even think
exactly. That's what I mean. It doesn't even have to. It makes him a huge contender.
Yeah. So all those factors, I think he's a live long shot at 20-1. But if you get 20-1. Send it in.
All right, and there you go. And then key the horse also underneath in the tries.
Yes.
And then the doubles. Yeah, let's talk about the 5th race because I love that you're so bold and brazen with your picks today, and that you're going against a Baffert who's going to be a massive favorite. Race 5 is a maiden special weight for 2-year-old fillies, going 6.5 furlongs on the main track. Like I said, no surprise at all. The morning line favorite at 8-5 is trained by Baffert. Number 6. Halos in Heaven makes her second start of the meet after just running second here and losing as the 7-5 favorite. Baffert's going to take the hood off today to see if he can get her to move forward. Looks to me that you're not going to use her for a penny here.
No. It's first of all, I just think there's other alternatives. First of all, the 2 and Tell Me No Lies was in that same race, right?
Yep.
And had trouble. And the horses come out of that race, I'm told by someone who does clocking there in Southern California, is training like a monster. So I think there's upside to that horse. The Baffert horse, maybe there's upside. I don't know. I thought she should have won that race.
Yeah.
She's going from 5 to 6.5 furlongs. I don't know if that makes me feel, all that great. And I've also heard that the Mandela, and he's always just dangerous. You see that Mike Smith takes the mount. That horse, it's got to be included. But the horse,
Mandela is a first-time starter, right? So.
Yeah, first time started. But the horse that I really like is the horse from Gulfstream. Now, like I said before earlier, I watched races like this, and I do the notes for Gulfstream. And this horse ran against a really nice horse, but this horse was held up. He was a little bit slow down the gate, got kicked back. This is what we talked about, Frank. Here's our kickback.
Yeah. Okay.
Got kicked back in the race and closed like a freight train. I mean, just closed like a monster. Like more distance is going to be better for this horse. I just think this horse has the chance to just run them all down. Given that, and the 82 figure is better than the other horses ran by far, and I think there's upside. Just not more, if not more, upside on her than the others. So I'm all about that horse. I think she really looks like the real deal. That race has come back pretty strong too. That was a nice horse that won that race. I know when you look at Gulfstream at this time of the year, you're not going to, hey, well, the 2-year-olds at Gulfstream. I think this horse is the real deal, though. I think this horse really could do some damage. And so that's why I played the way I played, keying her in the double, in the pick 4, and again, two things: keying her and against the Baffert, because I don't know, maybe the blinker thing helps. I don't know. She just looked like she should have won.
I agree with you, John, and I love it. I mean, the way to make money in this game is to try and beat vulnerable favorites. So just to recap, everyone, John had a couple of key horses today, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, but in the second race, number 4. Prince Adelaide at 6-1 morning line is a key horse for him, and you want to build your tickets around that horse. And then moving to the 4th race, number 7, Spanish Channel at 20-1 on the morning line. And then in the 5th race, number 5, Infinite Diamond, 2-1 on the morning line. And the way, if you saw the progression of bets that John made with the sequences, he's trying to get alive to his key horses in either a pick 4, pick 5, or a double. And then with the really big bomb, the 20-1, he's betting inside the race, keying that horse, betting the horse to win, and also keying that horse underneath in his trifectas. Do I have that right, John, for everybody out there who's going to make some majors today?
You're the best at that.
Well, no, this was awesome. I can't thank you enough, not only for you to share all the tips and tricks you use for optics, but also to talk about some high level strategy and finding opportunities where you can really make a score. I know you said when you and Emily were doing your live stream on Thursday a couple of weeks ago, you guys were talking about the pick 5, and you hit it for how much did you say it was?
30 something. I forgot what it was. 30. We live 9,000, 30 something, and we got nosed out, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, these are the kind of tickets you want to put together. This game is hard enough. You could try and grind it out, but it's going to wear you down to a nub. You want to find the opportunities. If John is correct in his pick 5, this could pay 30,000-40,000. Beating a Baffert, especially beating that Baffert in the last leg. So there's some good opportunities. Anything else you want to add, John? Follow at OpticsEQ. Go to opticseq.com. Anything else you want to talk about that's coming up or promote?
Yeah, no, just again, we do those seminars every Thursday, 4:45 Eastern time, 1:45. So what we try to do is get the last 3 or 4 races in Saratoga and the pick 5 at Del Mar. It's great. Just join in. It's fun. It's lively. The conversations are lively. The chat's really good. And I think you'll learn something, and you'll at least learn how we apply our stuff. And so if you're interested in optics, great way to learn it.
All right. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Best Bet. Again, thank you, John Doyle, for sharing his insights about optics, handicapping, and wagering. Anyone coming to the track today, I'll see you on track at 1 p.m. New location for my race-by-race seminar with Johnny Lowe. It's outside the Hacienda Room, across from the fountain, near the stretch run entrance. Until then, good luck to us, and let's make some money. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you soon.
Bye-bye.